Today is November 1st.
Yes,
Welcome
sir.
back to Your Platform Podcast. I'm here with the owner of TMG Plumbing Solutions and Disaster Solutions. I'm right on your face. TMG Plumbing and Disaster Solutions right on the shirt.
Yes, sir. So we were originally TMG Cleaning Services, and
Okay.
we just rebranded at the beginning of this year to kind of incorporate the full service of what we do. So everything from plumbing to the final rebuild of somebody's home after a disaster.
Very cool. Very cool. First of all, listen, I want to give you some flowers, man. I want to shout you out for the business that you build. It's actually first time we're meeting.
Yes, sir.
We've never met before. Obviously, I know you because your fiance, Danielle, she helped me with my sale of my house and the purchase of my new house. So nice to meet you. 1, 2, very proud of you. Not knowing who you are, but seeing exactly what you build. You're a family guy. You have 2 beautiful sons. And it seems like you're about your business. So I was really looking forward to doing this show because I grew up with not having a dad around. So whenever I see dads doing their thing, man, hats off. So congratulations on all that.
I appreciate that. And I can relate to you in that sense too. And that's what I think strives us to be good dads, because we saw what we were lacking as kids, and we want to try to change the pace and do everything we can to be the best father we can. So
let's start a little bit into just the business first, because then we'll go into a little bit of your past, maybe what you wanted to do, your journey of life, right? Because I think the business, where we are with our business, there's a story to that. That's the reason why I started this podcast, because I wanted to have people come on and just share that. Bring me 10 years ago. What were you doing? Who were you? What was life like for you then?
So 10 years ago, I was 20. I'm about to be 31 this month. Whew, already. So 20 years ago, I was working for a plumbing company, Crest Mechanical, out of Hartford. And I went to Grosso Tech, obviously, for plumbing and heating, got my hours done with that. I worked for numerous plumbing companies, and brought me to Crest, where I did a lot of medical gas. I learned how to do large commercial buildings. I worked with my current stepfather. I worked with him for a while. We had a great relationship. We had a lot of fun working together. And I just kind of got bored with plumbing. I wanted to try something different. Went into the Navy for a little while, wanted to travel the world. Came back home, and I worked for a company called Dunkley Cooling and Heating. And Dunkley really helped me mentor me into what I am today.
Mm-hmm.
Not only did he give me an opportunity to learn, heating and cooling it as part of the other trade besides plumbing, but he really helped me to be the man I am today. With not only business, but personal life, and, building your network and, creating relationships with people is a very important part of owning a company.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had a lot of ups and downs, definitely made some mistakes on my way up. Part of that was due to what I went through as a kid. A lot of drugs and alcohol in my home. Dad was in and out, and my dad and mom are both still alive. So I don't want to say anything too bad about him. We have a good relationship right now.
Sure.
But yeah, my father was definitely in and out. So learning how to be a man was something that was definitely self-taught, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So having those good mentors and father figures was something that I definitely strived to find.
Yeah.
And there was a few of them who definitely helped me along the way. It was my stepdad. I had another man named Chad Crump who taught me a lot of stuff about business and work ethic. I always strive to try to be like them or better.
Yeah.
And that's really what helped me become who I was. And I always strive to be better or to have these high goals. And, that's whether it was this cleaning company when I first started, had nothing to do with plumbing, but my parents had a cleaning company growing up. So when I got back from the military, worked for Dunkley, and then I was like, "Hey, Mom, do you want me to help you start up this cleaning company?" Because she still had it. And, that worked for a little while, but business and family don't really tend to work very well. So that's when I formed TMG Cleaning Services. And we did everything kind of from carpet cleaning, janitorial, window cleaning, upholstery cleaning. And then we started to get into water damage, and it kind of just started growing from there. We got into fires, to mold, water extraction. And then we were like, all right, well, a lot of these problems are coming from a broken pipe, frozen pipe,
Sure.
sewage overflow of a toilet. So we really expanded back to my roots, where we started to integrate our plumbing knowledge back into what we do. And a lot of my guys had a background in construction. So not only were we doing the plumbing, the mitigation, but now we're doing the rebuild.
Yeah. How's that evolved, Tyler? Because with business, like, you could easily be like, this is overwhelming. You know, because you guys you have your hands in a lot of different things. And, 10 years ago is when the business started, you would say? Or
Yeah, 10 years ago, just about.
Yeah.
I was just getting back from the military, about 21. So maybe a little shy of that. We're just about 9 years in business.
Sure.
So I took my cleaning background that I had from childhood. My parents had the janitorial cleaning company. I took that knowledge and applied it early on when I first started. And then we just started getting these jobs. They just really just all of it happened for a reason. It was very strange. Like my father was in rehab, and Teen Challenge was the program he was in. So Teen Challenge used to give me guys to come work. It's a Christian-based program. Yeah. So it would pretty much give these guys another chance at life, after they made mistakes. And so, Dad was like, hey, we got these guys who want to come work. So they would come work for me. And that's really how I found the manpower to do all this stuff.
Sure.
So we would have post-construction cleaning jobs. They would come work for us. They got dropped off on site. I didn't have to they just came and left. They did their thing. And, I met this gentleman named Paul Lynn. He's one of the guys that came to work for us one of these days, and we just connected very well. Paul is now essentially a partner in my company. He's my project manager. He helps run our bigger plumbing jobs, and it's been a blessing. We have a couple guys who are still with us from that program, about 8 years.
Love that.
8 years in.
Let me ask you, was the military for you something you just did because you didn't know what you wanted to do with your life at that time?
Yeah, okay. I think I was looking for an escape, to be honest with you.
Yeah. From what?
From childhood, and just wanted to travel the world. Get away. And I think because I had to grow up at an early age.
Sure.
I grew up, probably about 13. I had to start being a man, right? Like taking care of my mom.
Do you have siblings?
I have a younger brother and sister.
Okay.
So my mom had a daycare. She had a cleaning company. So she was working hard all, day and night. Yeah. So she would do daycare during the day, and then at nighttime she would be cleaning jobs. Yeah. And I had to go with her, help her get that done, and help watch my brother and sister, and then get up for school in the morning. And
you guys are from here? You guys local?
Oh yeah. Yeah. We grew up in Voluntown, and then moved to Montville.
Yeah.
Probably when I was like about 13.
Yeah. Did you, what do you remember when you and this is, I did an episode 2 or 3 episodes ago.
Yeah.
And I called it A Fatherless Father, the perspectives of being a dad without having a dad. I always knew I wanted to be a dad. That was something for me that I had the sense of, I had some sense of normalcy from other people in my life, having played baseball and seeing, families, have the house, the pools, the dog, the yard, coming from where I was in, New London, Connecticut. I grew up right, in New London my entire life. I was like, man, like that's kind of what I want. And I look back to, I would say as early as like 8, 9 years old, that I didn't see that with my mom, but I did see it with others. When you think back to young Tyler before 13, was that something that you envisioned? Because I think we can kind of connect the dots in life, going back. Sometimes it's like, man, it's foggy, but sometimes things pop up like randomly in our life. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that from when I was younger. When you think back to your life then, what stands out the most for you when you see where you are today?
I don't think that I ever wanted kids, to be honest with you, when I was younger. And I think that's because of, 1, the trauma.
Sure.
And 2, my mom had a daycare, dude, and I couldn't stand the kids in my house all the time. But in my life, things have just laid themselves out in front of me. And it's almost like I didn't want them to.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't want to be a contractor. Like I hated building stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got into flipping houses
Right.
because I met a real estate agent.
Right.
Right. And then it just started to web from there,
Mm-hmm.
and things just started to happen. Danielle found our dream house that was supposed to be a flip house.
Mm-hmm.
We ended up falling in love with it.
Mm-hmm.
And we built this, awesome backyard, and things in my life have
Sweet
just kind
backyard.
of, yeah, we did a lot. I love to build exquisite backyard. I did it in my Waterford house too. I loved the design process, and that's the web just kept going. And I found that I actually love some of these things that I never used to, or like things that made me uncomfortable. I ended up falling in love with them. Like kids, like I never wanted kids, and it's probably been one of the best things that's ever happened to me, whether it's grounding me or changing my perspective on
Sure.
life, because I was out of control for a while.
Yeah. What's when you say perspective, and I'll give you my take because I think it's really important. 'Cause I was a wild guy. Like
Oh yeah.
man, I loved the women.
Yep.
Before meeting my wife, and I wouldn't say I didn't have work ethic, but I just kind of you get paid, you go out. I didn't care. It was just life. But when you have children, you start paying attention to all sorts of things. Whether it's something that's happened economically, whether it's something that's happened politically, whether it's something that's happened spiritually, you start becoming more aware. What perspectives for you shifted when you had your first son?
I think it slowed me down. And it also made me understand my parents a little bit more, because they had me at such a young age. It made me understand that I got to work on that pain that I had from when I was young, which I did some intense, deep therapy after that.
Wow.
Because I knew that I didn't want to go down that road that they did.
Yeah.
Right? I know I had to make a change. So in that perspective, for me, changed. Like they almost saved my life, to be quite honest with you, because as much as I enjoyed business, there was no end game for me. It was
Sure.
just like, all right, let's just keep going. Let's just keep doing what I'm doing. And, there was no goal, right? Like now my goal is, hey, I got 2 kids. I gave them both TMG initials. I want to eventually give it to them. Like I have goals in my life now. Whereas before it was just kind of at the wind, right?
Yeah,
Just kind
yeah.
of going with whatever flow happened.
Sure.
Like I said with the web, like things were just going, and which it got me to this point. But now I have goals that I want to reach with my family, not just in a selfish way.
Yeah, I love that answer. There's just something about being a dad. Like you said, it grounds us. How do you turn off business and being dad? Like what's that look like for you?
I don't think you ever really turn it off. I think it's work-life harmony. And I used to say work-life integration. A mentor of mine told me work-life harmony, because it's almost like you never really shut it off, especially when you own an emergency service company.
Yeah.
But as you grow your company and you find these positions that you have to fill so that you're not always in that go, go, go mode, which we're working on now, because you have to separate life and business. And we didn't really understand that before, because it is our business that we grew from zero, right? So it's hard to learn how to give somebody else a role that you've had for so long, because you're selling this thing with your heart and soul. And now you're giving that position to somebody else where you hope that they're going to take it and live and breathe this thing like you do.
Yeah.
So that's one of the most detrimental times in your business where that you make that shift. And we are there, like we're growing fast, and we got to fill these positions, because 2-3 people in the back of the house just ain't enough anymore. You need a salesperson, you need somebody overseeing projects, project manager, project lead guy, because if that's you, you're gonna go insane, and you're never gonna give your family what they deserve.
What's your day-to-day like? Let's just say, you got your team and everybody, but what's your day-to-day from, let's just say from, Tyler gets up, gets the family ready and goes, and then, end of the day, what's that like for you?
Right now, Danielle's been helping me a lot with creating procedures and, programs. Like we got Company Cam we just launched, and she's been doing a lot of training, and I've been doing a lot of training with the guys and team meetings and setting up 401k programs. Like, it's a lot
Sweet.
more of building our brand and
Yeah.
our foundation now, instead of me running around, tearing out drywall with the guys. And that's the kind of turn we were making right now. And it's one of the most uncomfortable turns you can make in your business, because it's hard, because you have not necessarily micromanaged for so long, but you've been controlling everything. And now you're hoping that the guys don't forget to put in the AFD and change the filters. But we're creating these things, like why we integrated company cam into our business now, because there's a checklist that we've made. Hey, and they can't move on to the next part of that checklist until they've supplied a photo, checked off, hey, I changed the filters on this AFD, right? Like, that's why we're creating these programs, and we've been spending a lot of time with that. So that's mostly my day to day at this point. Also spending time with Julian. We're doing a lot of videography, building our brand, because we did just change our name this year, and we want to get it out there and let people know what we do. So right now, that's my main priority, is getting business in.
So to summarize what you're saying, is it safe to say that you guys have pivoted a little bit into
this whole year's been a massive pivot?
Yeah. And what was the main change of that? Was this because you're looking to grow? Was it something economically? Was it something that you're seeing? Like, when I think about the insurance industry and how we have to pivot, some carriers want us to go to insure only homes that were built after 1990. Some carriers don't want roofs that were done older than 8 years, so we have to pivot and make the connections to maybe builders, contractors, things like that, because those are the newer homes. That's where we have to go. That's hard, right?
Yeah.
What was your, like, all right, we got to go this way? What caused that mainly?
I had some personal issues going on, and between the kids and running into trouble, right? Like, I not only grew up with alcohol and drugs, I have also suffered from the abuse of alcohol. And last year I had got into some trouble with it, and I was like, all right, I need to totally change what I'm doing, because I'm so tired of this road and that pain I was just holding on to from childhood, and I was doing the same thing my parents were doing to me. And I was like, all right, dude, I'm done with this. I rebranded myself and my business at that time. I was like, I need to change everything I'm doing.
So you basically, for the old saying, was it out with the old, in with the new kind of thing?
I had to purge it out.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's hard to do.
Oh my God,
and and I gotta imagine you have to remind yourself day to day that this is why I'm doing it. And
100%.
I too have dealt with a bunch of different things that actually haven't openly discussed with anyone. Maybe save that for another show. But it's easy to let's just say I don't have addiction for the most part in the family. My mom had a little bit of a gambling addiction, but it was mainly just exposed to things that I shouldn't have been exposed to, and things kind of resurface in your life, and you go away from it, and then something like triggers it, and it comes back, and you're like, that's hard. So my hat's off to you, the one to openly discuss that and share that, and just keep trucking through. You mentioned therapy. How long have you been in therapy, or how long are you still actively doing it? Or when you were doing it, what was that like for you in that time? Like, how did it break you down? Did it obviously break you down to build you up? But like, what were those moments like?
So I did some trauma therapy. It's not necessarily like was it like a what do they call it, hypnosis?
Yeah.
It's not like that. It was more of like bringing you back to that memory. I forgot exactly the term or what they use for it. But it's not like ketamine or anything like that. It's basically, they take you back to that memory.
Gotcha.
And they make you relive it.
Yeah.
And then you almost callous that memory. Like you change that bad memory with a good one.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he'll say, hey, and he waves his hand in front of your face. It's interesting, but it does work, and it brings you back to that thought. And then it's like, all right, well, what's one of the most comforting thoughts that you've had, right? And mine was like holding Theo on my arm, like that comforting feeling of holding your son. And okay, we're gonna we're going to paste over that thought with that thought of you holding Theo.
Yeah.
So now when I think of it, it doesn't hurt as much, right?
Oh, I
And
love
now
that.
it's like, it didn't, it's almost like it never happened, but
Right.
it did. It's still there, but you don't think of it.
Right.
Because a lot of these thoughts and these feelings that you have are subconscious and you don't realize it. And then like the stress just keeps adding and adding and adding and
Sure.
adding. And eventually you explode, it overflows. So you have to be aware of these feelings, even though you're going 100 miles an hour every single day and you got problems and kids and, you know, things at the house are breaking and this and that and guys calling out of work and you got to go to Mrs. Jones' house or she's going to get pissed and give you a 1-star review and all this stuff just overflows. And instead of drinking, you got to work on that problem, man, because that's what I was doing. It was getting to be too much.
Yeah.
And I wasn't hiring enough people because I wanted to make more money.
Right. Right.
But at a certain point, you got to hire these people and you're going to still make more money.
Right.
And you're going to live a better life.
Right.
It's just, you got to train and spend the time where before I didn't want to face that problem.
What is like your most valuable principle that you have in your life?
Integrity with your word.
Integrity with
accountability.
Your word.
I hate when people lie to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Having dealt with the business that you've had now for the last 10 years, what struggles have you had in the business and how has that impacted you?
I think struggles with the business was figuring out which route to go, right? Because like when I started, it was cleaning. It was a cleaning company. We worked for the Navy base, doing all their turnovers. Like every time somebody would get sent to another state or a different base, we had to go in and clean. Sometimes we were doing like 10 houses a day.
Yeah.
It was getting intense, and that's kind of, I think, now that you mention it, I think that's kind of where we started to web into the rebuild because we were doing, not only were we cleaning these places, we were doing the painting, we were doing, if flooring needed to be replaced, we were doing that. If a toilet had to be swapped out, we were doing that. So that was really the battleground of what started us, because we were taking these people from Teen Challenge, and some of them had good skills. Like Paul had the plumbing background. He was a plumber for 25 years. He also knew how to build stuff. So Paul really, and while Paul was there, he was like my little freaking scout, right? He would get the guy who knew how to paint. He would get the electrician that was there in this program, and then we'd start hiring him on. Like, we're going to make this guy part of our TMG family, right? So determining, okay, this isn't profitable, we need to go here. And that really, since we've tried so many different things, it really taught us what we want to do and what we enjoy doing the most. Just recently, like, we got certified for everything. I sent guys to go get certified for mold. I got guys to get certified for water, fire. So in doing that, it's going to help me step back, because I was working too much, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So, and the money wasn't enough, right? We still weren't getting ahead, right? So then I was like, oh, we got to change this thing up. We got to do something different. And, same thing, I was flipping houses, right? Everybody wants to flip a house. It's everybody's dream. But it sucks. You work 6 months to get this money back, hopefully, right? You put your heart and soul into this thing, and you get lucky if you make 20 grand, 30 grand, right? And, that's not only emotionally heavy, but it's like, and sometimes, okay, you get into this house and the septic fails. I always do septic inspections and sewer cameras, but just for an example, like sometimes, especially when you get into doing the foreclosures, you can't necessarily do the septic inspections. So then it's like, oh shit, dude, that's like 30 grand right there that I didn't have in my budget. And now you made $2 on that flip. It took you 6 months to make $2.
I'm a big believer with everything that you're doing. It seems extremely hard. I'm not a handy guy. I'll be the first one to say, like, buying my first house, my father-in-law did the kitchen himself. I was there with him. He was showing me how to use certain tools and with it. But I haven't grown up the way I grown up. I just was never exposed to that type of stuff. But I do believe that hard work really, people stray away from doing the hard things. And I've said that a couple times on the show, where when you do the most difficult things, that's where it really builds your character. And if you can separate what you want the result to be versus what the result is actually going to be, I think that's where people find growth in themselves, whether it be in business, whether it be personally. And just going back to the trauma therapy that you had went through, like, I'm sure that was extremely hard work. And if you look back to that time in your life going through the therapy sessions and where you are now, you're like, man, I'm a completely different person from that. What does Tyler want to get better at?
Let me add to that too.
Sure.
I know a lot, in some of those jobs, like I said, you made $0,
Yeah.
but to the point of that, you were paying for college, right? Think about it. You were paying for education when you were flipping those houses, making $0. I literally know how to do almost anything.
Yeah.
Like from cleaning to rebuilding a house, building a house from ground up, like we know how to do literally everything because I've done so many different things. But at the end of the day, you take those losses and you got to look at the glass half full, not empty. And that's what we did. And some of these houses weren't doing so well as a flip, but we ended up holding them, and now they're doing well as an Airbnb.
Right.
So it's just learning from your losses at the end of the day is the biggest thing, and not getting too down on yourself, because you can get that way too.
Yeah. So going back to that, the question now, two-part question here. What's the future for TMJ? What are you guys looking to hope to build, or what are you hoping to build? And what is it that you would like to be better at, whether it be personally or in the business?
So we are looking to build the biggest one-stop shop restoration company in our area, because a lot of people don't offer this service that we do.
Yeah.
A lot of mitigation companies aren't plumbers, and a lot of mitigation companies don't have a construction background, where we have all of that. So not only are we taking this person's disaster, which usually comes in as a plumbing problem, like 90% of our jobs are caused by a plumbing issue.
Sure.
Sewage backups, overflowed toilet, septic tank's full, the septic tank inlet has a clog and it backed up the whole house, and their second floor is covered in sewage. Everything that I've done as far as mitigation, 90% of it has come from some type of plumbing issue.
Yeah.
So right then and there, that puts us way ahead of everyone else, because nobody offers that. This homeowner usually has to call a plumber.
Yeah.
Right. And then the plumber is now getting some type of referral from a mitigation company. Right.
Sure.
So now the clients now has a new person in their home. Right. And now they're going to come in there, tear everything out, probably not even communicate with the client what the hell is going on.
Right.
And now they're going to give a referral to the contractor who's going to come in there and put their home back together.
Yeah.
Who probably works for the insurance company, who probably doesn't do a really great job either, because they're also getting a referral from the insurance company or something of that sort. And they have to abide by all these rules that the TPA is giving them. Like, you can't bill for this because we're not going to pay for it. And this client has no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
They have no communication, where we work with the client from start to finish and ensure that their home is put back together.
Yeah.
If not better than it was before we got there. So what we're trying to build and the brand that we're trying to build is completely different from our industry, as our industry knows.
Sure.
And the reason why we did that is because we see it. A lot of the clients we get are from a disaster that somebody didn't put back together right. We have a client we're working with right now who's dealing with an attorney because they had their insurance company send out somebody. They had a fire in their house. They had an insurance company send somebody out, a company I've never even heard of. And they rebuilt this house, didn't even put insulation back behind their walls,
Crazy.
Didn't tie back the outside of the house. The house is freezing cold right now.
Wow.
And it's been 80 degrees. The house is, that's how poorly insulated this home is. And then the person tried to get away from hiring a plumber to hook up an ice maker line, flooded the house all over again after they just had a fire.
Sure.
The restoration company didn't check the basement to see if it was wet. They had mushrooms growing from underneath their new floor in the basement. Then they hired a mitigation company who was pretty known in the area, who never contain the space, never ask the client if they have any autoimmune deficiencies or asthma, which both of them, their son and she did, the wife. Now they have health issues going on. Now this person's at risk, this contractor are at risk because now they've done a poor job of mitigating this mold in the basement after she's already had 2 other contractors come in here and do a horrible job.
Sounds like a nightmare.
But we get this all the time. Right. And it's frustrating to me because I care about these people and they're getting taken advantage of immensely by these people who are just coming in here, don't really care. They say they care, but they're just there to make, obviously we know there's a lot of money in this industry, but at the end of the day, we're here to help people, not line our pockets. Yeah. And that's what separates us from them. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, we're here for our clients, which I think a lot of these companies forget.
I have a question on the insurance side. This is actually just a random question that just popped in my head. Do you find it difficult dealing with the company sometimes?
The insurance company?
Yeah.
When you're on a TPA program.
Yeah. What's a TPA program?
Third party administrator. So, for example, contractor connection. The problem is they make you abide by these rules, right? You have to use Mika to take your moisture readings, but they're not there physically to show you, hey, this isn't drying, dude. Like, I have to keep this equipment in here for another 2 days. Like, there was tons of contents in here. I can't dry this. I can't dry this property as fast as you're saying I can. Yeah. And they don't want to pay you.
Interesting.
So then what's going to happen? You're going to take your stuff out of there and it's still wet.
Yeah.
So a lot of that we're finding, as much as we want to be on a TPA because it feeds you a lot of work. At the same time, we're like, we don't really want to do, because then it's going to take what we're trying to build away. Sure. From our brand.
Yeah. How what's your guys' speed turnaround time for things? I know I saw you guys are 24/7 online. What's that look like for you guys?
So we are open 24/7. We have guys on call rotating. So we get to a house within an hour generally.
Yeah. You mentioned mentors. You know, it sounds like you have a well-oiled machine. Like
we're trying for sure.
It really sounds like it's really efficient, and you have processes down, and obviously, you know, there's hiccups, but you guys can navigate around the hiccups. What mentors kind of taught you some of these things, or how did you learn some of these things? Obviously it's on the fly, but it's very easy for people to be like, nah, I'm just going to keep doing things the way I'm doing it. Like, talk to me about that a little bit.
So when I first started my company, I had a gentleman named Chris Calkins who really helped me build my brand, my logo.
Is that electric guy?
It's his son.
Okay.
So he's great at IT. Yeah. So he helped me build the structure of the company and got it rolling for me, got the number, set me up with Vonage. Like, he helped me set up for success, if you will, as far as programs and everything else. And he introduced me to John Dunkley. So that's a gentleman that I worked for afterwards for a while. And John helped me to network and build my brand and meet new people and communicate with people. And, you know, that was not an easy thing for me before. I was not very social.
Sure.
So going to chambers and events and sponsoring things and being a part of the community was something I never did before. Yeah. So that's where I really started to advance my brand. Yeah. So he was really great for that. But again, we outgrow our mentors, or we need other advice. Like, you can't just have one or two. You got to take a little piece of every one of them to really form the person that you want to be. Because some people are going to say things to you that you disagree with.
Right.
Like, I don't agree with that. Like, I feel, and it's not only just business, it's also personal transactions, whether it's buying a vehicle, lettering your van. You want to go through all of these people and ask them for their advice and send them, hey, here's my proof for my new van wrap. What do you guys think? You go through your whole team to create that decision. That's a big decision, right? Sure. So having this whole team, right? You got your CPA, you got your advisor, you got your insurance guy. Like, you go through your whole team of people before you make a decision. Like, I got my advisor telling me, you know, make sure you review this with your CPA before you dump this money into here, and make sure you do this. And like, we have a whole team before we make a decision.
Yeah.
Right now we're working with Sean Mike. I don't know if you're familiar with Family First Life.
I know the company. I don't know it. I don't know if I know Sean Mike.
So he started Family First Life.
Oh, okay.
So we've been working closely with Sean. and he's really big on pushing for social media.
Sure.
So that's what really, I've been working with him for probably 2 months now, and very big on the social media presence. So far, I mean, we've blown it up exponentially from when I started with him.
Sure.
The next thing he's got us doing is Facebook ads. Very big on the Facebook ads leads. But when we first started, we were getting no views on our social media. We have roughly 300,000 views on our stuff right now.
Wow.
Just visiting our profile.
Is that like TikTok or is it
Instagram?
Instagram. Good for you.
Instagram business page. Yeah.
Wow. Awesome.
We've like doubled our followers.
So is it when you are trying to learn something, are you out there seeking the individuals to help you with this, or are you doing it on your own?
I am. Yes, I do seek individuals because I want to learn from them. Where a lot of people are egotistical, or like say they already know everything, or they already have a $2-3 million company. Why do they want to make it bigger?
Right.
I want to make a $50 million company. You know what I mean? So you can't do that without surrounding yourself with those type of people. You're never going to get there because they have knowledge that it would take you years to find out if you didn't know these people, and they've already made the mistake. So why not learn from them?
Yeah. So we got a couple minutes before we wrap up. But when you reflect back on your life, on your personal life, on your business life, what's the most important thing that you've learned?
Shut up and listen. Right? Like you got to listen to people and shut up, because that's how you build relationships. You want to learn what somebody else needs and fulfill that need for them and build a good relationship. You can't do that if you're just thinking about yourself.
Sure.
Because relationships at the end of the day are everything. Nothing else matters really.
Yeah. So I mean, I really appreciate getting to know you a little bit during this conversation, learning about your business, learning about it's interesting hearing that you did it because you didn't want to become a parent. Because I know a lot of people who don't, and they like stand on that ground. And then you have kids and you're like, man, this changed my life. And I keep telling people, there's a lot of people I talk to, I work with a bunch of young kids, and I tell them like, listen, becoming a parent, like, yes, the diapers, the vomit, the late nights, like the stuff that we're going to deal with, like, this is just like, having young kids 4 and 2. And I think yours is 3.
We got a 1.5 years and a 5-month-old.
And a 5-month-old. I don't know why it feels like it was around the time that
super fresh though.
Super fresh. But like during these times, it's like it seems like a lot, but it's just the beginning of stuff. And some of the younger people that I talk to in the office, they're like, oh, I don't want to have kids because of the stories that you said, but it changes your life in such a positive way.
I think it's all mindset too. Like what you feel like is a lot.
For sure.
Like what I feel like is a lot would probably send somebody over the edge, right? Like a day in TMG shoes is probably one of the worst days somebody could go through, right? Like exhausting.
Right.
So I think it's all mindset. Like we all have a different outlook on stress and what's too much for us, but it's all mindset. Your mind is capable of doing a lot more than you think it is.
What are you doing? So to that point, what are you doing to keep your mindset in line?
Gym. I met a guy named Travis who, when I was going through that hard time last year, dealing with, getting in trouble, alcohol, he's totally sober. He's been sober, so never had a drink of alcohol in his life. And he got me back into the gym. Because when I was younger, I bodybuilded and I was really in the gym all the time. And he got me we collected like old school York plates and home gyms. Like he's got a home gym that's outrageous. The thing is sick. So he's big into powerlifting, and really getting that aggression out was what I needed to do. So, we're now working on our home gym. We got, we just painted our walls, but like the hexagon, it looks sick. So that's been my new, hobby, if you will. Like we do everything outside, hanging out with Theo in the morning while I'm working out. He's even got his little weight set. He's starting to lift weights, but the gym helps me to stay sane. I mean, it helps me get the stress out in the morning when I'm reading my emails. I'm on the treadmill.
Sure.
It's a great way to multitask and get that, stress and aggression out. So that's really how I've, been able to stay at my calm pace.
Yeah.
So
do you meditate at all or anything like that? Or
I used to.
Yeah.
I used to. Reading the Bible at night, praying a little bit. just making sure that you're staying aware of where you were and where you came from, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love that. Before we let you go, where can people find TMG Plumbing and Disaster Solutions?
You can find us on Instagram, TMG-Disaster Master. We're on TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, and obviously our website. Just Google TMG Plumbing and Disaster Solutions. We'll come right up.
Awesome, man. I appreciate your time. This is a lot of fun.
I appreciate you. Nice to meet you finally.
Likewise, man. Thanks.